Every once in a while, I like to do things that are a little experimental.
What are you talking about?
But like sometimes I like to do things au naturel, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Okay, well, today we're going to talk about a wine that likes to do things like that too. So hold on to your socks.
Well, what if I'm not wearing any?
Hello, and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of a reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair.
Wow.
Okay, a quick orientation for those of you who may be new to the podcast. What we do in each episode is we learn about and we taste, and we give our completely honest review of 3 wines that are reasonably priced, which means under $20, and should be easy for you to find. Why are you laughing?
Because you're just like on high.
I'm hyper.
You're just like, wow.
Okay, and our podcast is made for people who want to learn more about wine, find new wines to enjoy, and just want someone to talk about wine in a fun way that normal people can understand.
I'm so intrigued, especially just by the whole enthusiasm tonight.
I'm very enthusiastic. So if that sounds like you are in the right place. And we are proud to say that we are recommended by the editors of Decanter Magazine, who call us fun, irreverent,
chatty,
and entertaining.
Now enthusiastic.
And enthusiastic. Yeah, I have to say too, Carmela, I got a new mic. I was trying to use a new mic for a couple weeks. I hated it.
Yeah.
I got this new one. I like it. Don't you like it? Don't you think it sounds good?
You're so excited.
Don't you think it sounds a little better?
Oh, it sounds so much different. I mean, way better.
Oh, okay, you're being sarcastic. I also want to make a shout out to Rachel, who sent us a little email and told us how much she liked us. We like you too, Rachel. Okay, there you go.
Wow.
It's on the
Thanks,
books.
Rachel.
Okay.
Come for dinner.
That's right.
Sunday night.
Send us a note. Okay, Carmela, I feel like it's been a while since we have had a sparkling wine.
Ooh.
And not just in this podcast, but kind of in general.
Yeah, we have. I wonder why.
I don't know. But for those of you out there in listening land who may not know this, Carmela and I love sparkling wine.
Yes, we do.
And you're probably getting sick of hearing this from us, but I'll just say it again. Don't call it champagne.
No.
Right?
No.
Unless it's really a champagne, don't call it champagne, it's sparkling wine. Okay, but that's a different story. So we are back this week, Carmela, to one of our beloved WTF episodes where we educate ourselves and, by association, all of you out there about some new or different wine. And for this WTF episode, we're asking the question, what the fuck is Pét Nat?
Yay, I'm excited.
Now, some of you out there in listening land may be wondering, what is Pét Nat? Because
what is Pét Nat?
Well, and I'll tell you in a little bit, but that might be because you frankly just never even heard the term before.
No.
And that's totally fine.
I mean, I have.
I know you have.
I know.
Because we've had it.
Right, exactly. But I wouldn't have known it if you hadn't introduced it to me.
That's true. I was introducing you.
Yeah,
hello,
hi.
meet Pét Nat.
My name is
Okay,
Pét
now
Nat.
others of our friends out there may have heard of Pét Nat, but we're just afraid to try it.
Ooh, yeah. You know what? I would almost imagine that you would be one of those people.
I would.
Yeah,
because if you look at it, it's a little different,
too natural,
funky,
a little bit, kind of freak you out a little bit. That would be really though. So good for you.
Thank you for being open-minded. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm saying
thank
good job for being open. And I believe that you have liked the ones we've tried.
I have.
Yeah.
And today we're going to try and remove your fear of Pét Nat by exploring just exactly what it is. And we're going to try 3 reasonably priced Pét Nats that should be easy for you to find, so we can see if we can help you discover something new that you might just love. And after all, that's what the WTF episodes are about anyway, right, Carmela?
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to remember the first time we had a Pét Nat, or even the first time I even heard of it. And I know one of the first, maybe even the first Pét Nats we had was actually when we went to Chelan several years ago.
Okay.
Now, for those of you who don't know Washington State, Chelan, in the middle of the state, there's a lake called Lake Chelan and a small town called Chelan, go figure. And the area is actually high desert, so it gets real hot during the summer. Right. And the lake is mountain fed, so it gets real cold all the time.
You think it would be refreshing, but it's actually just kind of startling.
Not. You think you're going to have a heart attack.
Right.
Okay. And in and around Lake Chelan, there are now a whole bunch of vineyards and wineries where there used to be apple orchards. So I remember we went to a winery called Hard Row to Hoe in Chelan, and we went in their tasting room. It was right off off the highway when you go from Chelan to Manson. And I think there was like, do you remember this? There was like one other person, and they were kind of like, I think the two of them were kind of at a table. They weren't even behind the bar in the tasting room.
I mean, sort of.
And we were looking at stuff, and I think they just kind of convinced us to try their Pét Nat. We were like, what is this? Do you have I think
Were we with my parents?
No, I think it was just you and me.
Okay.
And I think I was totally confused about even what a Pét Nat was. And the other thing was a little pricey.
Oh,
it was like
boy.
$40,
so that's
$45.
not what we're reviewing today.
No. And so I wasn't even sure that I wanted to try it, because not only was it weird, but it was expensive for me. For me, it was expensive.
Right.
But I do remember we bought it. We busted out the credit card. We were like, let's go for it. And we
really weren't the sommelier of reasonably priced wines.
Not that day.
Yeah, not that day.
Not
right.
that day.
Yeah.
No. So we took it back to our room at Campbell's Resort. We put it in the fridge, and then we opened it and we tasted it. I remember thinking, this is some good juice, bro.
Wow, bro. Hey, now, question for you.
Okay.
Oh, God. Now just shoot
Do
him.
it.
I just,
shoot them away. Shoot them.
You
Go.
just make me think of things. Are Pét Nats always sparkling?
They are.
Okay.
And we will get to that, my love.
Okay. I knew I was jumping the gun.
But back to Hard Road to Hoe. I did go back to their website as I was writing this episode to see if I could find their Pét Nat, and I couldn't find it. And what's really interesting is Wine Enthusiast actually gave their 2018 Pét Nat, which may have been the one that we tried. They gave it like a 90 rating, which is a really good rating, and I don't think Chelan wineries get ratings that often.
Did you inquire with them?
No, I didn't go and ask him. I didn't call him up.
You should.
Okay, well, I didn't.
Okay, I mean, that would be
Stop
interesting.
judging me.
Okay, wait, did you find out why they discontinued it, or do you not even know that?
I'm telling you, I don't know. All I did was I went to the website to see if I could find it, and I couldn't find it.
Okay.
So there you go. So now, for all of you out there in listening land who may be wanting to ask questions, but can't, like Carmela, a little hint on Pét Nat. The wine from Hard Road to Hoe was called Hard Road to Hoe 2018 Au Naturel Pét Nat Rosé.
Oh, wow.
So the hint is that it was called Au Naturel, which means natural or without intervention, or probably how we most often hear it, naked.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hey, wow.
A naked wine. Yeah.
I mean, WTF, and now we're talking about
I know,
nudity.
This is a hot episode. Okay.
My goodness.
But anyway, I'm digressing.
Naked's kind of different than nudity, though.
You're right. Naked's natural.
Right,
It's natural. Au naturel. Nudity is dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I think we should just get into what this Pét Nat thing is, because the sooner we do that, the sooner we can stop talking about naked people, and we
Naked
can
people?
and we can start drinking our 3 Pét Nat wines, which we have for today, which, by the way, come from different countries and should be delicious, and they're definitely cold because they've been sitting in the fridge for days. But first,
You got to do your shameless plug.
that's right. So we want to thank you for listening to us and supporting our show. And if you haven't had the chance to do so yet, now would be an awesome time to subscribe to the podcast. Carmela's giving me such a look.
No, I'm just like, wow, you're just very interesting
really
today.
hyper. I'm really hyper. Now, subscribing, ladies and gentlemen, is a free way, not a freeway, not a highway, but a free way to support us.
Life is a highway.
Life is a highway, and this is a freeway. Okay. And we want to thank all of you who have subscribed already. And another great way to support us is to leave a nice rating and review on our website or on Apple Podcasts, and let people know that, 5 stars for us because we're awesome. I don't know. That was dumb. Okay. And then you can also follow us and see pictures of the wines we're tasting and trying today on Instagram at the Wine Pair Podcast. You can also follow us on Threads. I always say that, but I don't even go on Threads. You can also contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. And if you go there, you can sign up for our email mailing list. And there we send out information about food and wines, and we have recipes and food and wine pairings. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is hands down the most amazing thing you will see today.
It is. Thanks, Carmela. And you can also email us at joe@thewinepair.podcast.
Just like Rachel.
Like Rachel did. And we will respond and we'll talk about you. Ask Rachel. We sent her a note back. Come on. We didn't even wait. We were like, Rachel, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and as we do every week, we'll tell you someone, this is going off the rails, we think you should tell about the Wine Pair Podcast. And this week, we want you to tell anyone who either loves sparkling wine or who likes to be au naturel or naked. Like,
Oh,
people
wow.
who like to walk around naked,
Well,
don't you?
usually those are like empty nesters too.
Oh,
That's what I've heard. Like all naked all the time. But do we do that?
I don't want to talk about it, but right now behind our microphones, we might be naked.
We
Ooh,
could.
that's a bad.
Oh my gosh.
That's a terrible.
You don't
Get
want to
that
put that
out of your
idea
mind.
out in
Get that out of-
anybody's
I'm sorry.
head.
I'm sorry for even
Oof,
saying
that picture.
I know. I'm trying to get that picture out of my head. But just send those people this episode and tell them to keep their pants on.
Whoa. We're not going to be able to publish this one.
Oh, yes, we are. Okay, Carmela, let's just talk about what the F Pét Nat is. Are you ready?
So ready.
Okay, so first I'm just going to say that Pét Nat is a style of sparkling wine. So you asked, is it a sparkling? Yes, it's always a sparkling wine.
Okay.
And like any sparkling wine, the taste of the sparkling wine is going to be very dependent on the types of grapes that are used and the talent of the winemaker and so forth. So inasmuch that sparkling wine is a style of wine and not a varietal or specific grape or whatever, Pét Nat is another further style of sparkling wine. So it's just another style. Okay, so Pét Nat is actually short for the French term pétillant naturel.
Oh my.
And that means natural sparkling in French. And Pét Nat is actually a very old style or way of making sparkling wine called méthode ancestrale. Or ancestral, right?
Oh, wow.
Now, so this is from an article that I got online from Decanter Magazine, and you can find it if you go to our show notes. So if you go to our website, click on this episode, and then scroll down to the show notes, the Pét Nat style of making sparkling wine was said to be developed in the 16th century, but I'm betting it's way older than that.
I would think it's a very old form of winemaking.
In fact, the Decanter article says it's probably the oldest way of making sparkling wine. And my guess is that it was probably developed like hundreds or thousands of years before that, and probably by accident.
Wow.
Right? Because a lot of times, like beer, wine, these things that like ferment, etc., they probably, when
Just
they
happened
originally
upon it. Or
exactly,
just, yeah.
exactly. But today, it's made purposely, and it's been made purposely for a long time. Now, Pét Nat gets its sparkliness, I call it sparkliness,
I like that.
through a single continuous fermentation. So what do I mean by that? So that means, you ask,
What do you mean by that, Joe?
that means that the wine is bottled while it's still fermenting. So it's not done fermenting.
Okay.
So the yeast is still in with the juice, and the yeast is eating up those sugars that are in the grape juice, and then the yeast it eats those sugars and it poops out carbon dioxide, and that's what gives the bubbles.
That's what makes it all natural.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And so it's considered to be a relatively simple and natural way to make sparkling wine. So you may also ask, what makes Pét Nat different from the champagne method of making sparkling wine?
What makes Pét Nat different from the champagne way of making wine?
I am really glad that you asked that question, Carmela. So let me tell you.
Okay.
First, since the wine ferments completely in the bottle, the yeast, or the lees, as they're called, are left in the bottle in Pét Nat. So Pét Nats are often cloudy, and you'll usually see sediment in them.
Oh, I know. And that's what I would almost think would freak you out.
No, totally. You kind of turn that bottle and you're like, ooh, there's something in there.
Right. And that's something we thought, or we believe that
Would be bad.
Right. Well, and my brother, we thought, that would be something he would love because he's kind of all natural.
Yeah, he is kind of naked all the time. Okay, so the champagne style now, on the other hand, of sparkling wine, it starts by making a still wine. So they start by making a non-sparkling wine. And so it's fermented once already. And then they bottle that wine as well with yeast to create the bubbles and a second fermentation. But in this case, the bottles are inverted. So the tops are downward. The tops are faced downward.
Okay.
So what they want to do is they want to get the lees, that yeast, to like gather around the cork or the opening of the bottle. And then what they do is they open the bottle, and that's called disgorging. And what happens then is they clear out the lees, and then they put some more sparkling wine from other vintages in it. And then that wine, which is now clear, is corked.
Oh, wow.
But in Pét Nat, there's no disgorging. The lees just stay in there.
So interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
on purpose. It's just
Purposely.
such a... Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then the second way that Pét Nat is different, Pét Nat is a pretty fast way of making sparkling wine. One article called it quick and dirty.
Ooh.
So champagne can take years to make. Nudity, quick and dirty. Yeah.
Quick and dirty.
Au Naturel. Now, champagne can take many years to make, but a Pét Nat can be ready sometimes in just a few months. And they're generally consumed really young. And usually they're totally consumed within the first couple of years of being bottled. And when they're very young, Pét Nats can be a little bit sweet because the yeast hasn't eaten up all the sugar.
Is it something that like goes bad quicker though than just because there's all that natural sediment in there? I wonder.
I think it just doesn't last as long. I don't think it's going to last super long. Yeah, I think that's right.
It's just not stripped of its, I feel like it's kind of stripped of some of those natural particles. It's just not going to.
I think that's right.
Last longer.
Yeah, and then I think sometimes you have those sediments in there. They can, they'll just naturally probably go bad after a while. Okay, and then the third way in which they're different is that a Pét Nat is actually not very reliable or predictable. It's a more challenge. Well, it's not more challenging. It's just like weird things can happen when you start making a Pét Nat. When you make a champagne or you make a prosecco, which is made in a different method called the Charmat method of sparkling wine, it's got really specific steps. There's a lot more human intervention. It's very precise. Like Pét Nat, the winemaker, by the name itself, just lets nature take its course.
So do you think you have to be as crafty with a Pét Nat?
So I think what we're going to find, and we'll talk about this when we get to the wines, is that I think they're sometimes more experimental. Like people try different things with Pét Nats than they would with like a champagne or some other type of sparkling wine. So I think that's part of the whole deal. They're natural. You kind of let nature take its course. And I think sometimes winemakers like them because they can try different things. And again, one of the wines we're going to taste today is trying something really different, but I'm going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
But on that note, like Pét Nats can have funky flavors. They can sometimes have funky smells. And that's also part of the appeal sometimes. People just like that better. And then some people really love Pét Nat because it's natural. It's considered a natural wine.
Right.
Most Pét Nat makers use organic grapes. The grapes or the wines also tend to be vegan because they're not fined and filtered. And so, some people, again, really like this. Some winemakers are using also like naturally occurring yeasts and natural fermentations and very low intervention. And so that can be really appealing to people. And then sometimes Pét Nats can also have like a different kind of bubble than a champagne. Sometimes they're almost more fizzy or effervescent than they are like those, those pretty bubbles you get in a champagne. Sometimes you're not going to get that in a Pét Nat.
Do you think they're a little more of a casual bottle? Like they almost feel like a picnic type of wine.
Well, it's an interesting thing. I think they can be casual, but sometimes they're a little pricey.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they can be a little bit more expensive. So I think they're a little bit more like for the artsy crowd. I think they're kind of a little bit like, I mean, I'm not saying you could totally have one at a picnic and something fun kind of outside, but I think they're kind of maybe sometimes because they can be a little pricey are not quite that super casual.
Right. Not as accessible maybe either.
What do you mean accessible? Like taste wise?
No, well, I'm just thinking price wise. Like if you're not looking to, you may not want to splurge on something like that.
Yeah, I agree. But then I think people who really want that like kind of natural, they want something that's not mass produced, they want something that's a little bit more handmade, like they'll be really attracted to a wine like this. And also because it's au naturel, they'll be attracted to it.
Ooh, wow. Of course. I mean, wouldn't we all? I know some people don't really like that though. People don't really
you're right.
They're
Some
like that
like
one's a
clothes.
little too au naturel for me.
Some people like clothes.
True.
They like the mystery.
Or
of
maybe
clothes.
sometimes like au naturel might be like, just like a little plainer.
I don't know. I like it. I like where you're going.
No.
But I don't understand it at all.
I don't either.
She's going to want me to edit that.
Yeah,
I probably
please
won't.
do.
Okay.
Yes, you will. You will.
No, the last thing I'll also say is that you can often tell if a sparkling wine is a Pét Nat. Not always, but you can often tell if it's a Pét Nat because the bottle is topped with a bottle cap or what they call a crown cap.
I love that. Maybe that's what makes you think of it as being a little
Cheaper.
bit casual.
Yeah, casual. Yeah, you're right.
Not cheaper, casual.
Yeah. But that's just, what's weird about that, or I don't know if it's weird, but actually when they cap champagne the first time before it's disgorged, they often use a crown cap. Like that's actually something you'd see if you went to a lot of champagne places. I guess I've never been, but I've seen the pictures.
Okay.
But anyway, that's a lot of talking. So I think we should talk about the wines that we chose for this episode.
Yes, I think we should.
Carmela's like, can we get on with it? Okay, so Carmela, I do have an admission to make.
Okay.
For the second week in a row, we're going to have a wine that breaks the $20 barrier.
Joe.
I know. But I will say in total, these wines average under $20. Okay. And even the most expensive of the bunch is just barely over $20. Wow. But I had to give that disclaimer because we're supposed to be about reasonably priced wine.
I know. You're killing me, honey.
No, I'm not killing you. And then I'll also say that sometimes finding specific types of wines like a Pét Nat makes it a little hard to find wines that are under $20. And I'll just say in general, things are getting a little bit more expensive. I don't know if people out there have noticed that. So I'm not sure exactly how much longer we're going to be able to say that $20 is our bar. We might have to go to 25 at some point.
Okay, wow.
But we're not going to do it now. But maybe soon.
Well, we are doing it now.
Well, but I'm not changing the parameters of the podcast yet. That may come someday. Probably will come someday. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then all of these should be relatively easy to find because I bought them all on wine.com.
Perfect.
And I will say Pét Nat is actually becoming a little bit easier to find. Like, find a natural wine shop, no problem. You'll find them there. But I think even in bigger wine shops, you're starting to see more and more natural wines and Pét Nats show up. So
wait a minute. Yeah. Didn't we do a Pét Nat with my brother? Is that why I'm thinking of it?
We did kind of a Pét Nat style. It was not called a Pét Nat. It was an Italian wine, but it did look like a Pét Nat.
Yes, yeah. And that was on his Casa Fior's Cucina.
Oh, on Facebook.
Right, and YouTube.
Use a tube. Okay, now let's get back to the wine. Are you ready to get back to the wine, Carmela?
Yes.
Okay, so the first wine we're going to drink today comes to us from Spain in the Penedès region, and it's called Entre Vignes Oniric Pét Nat. I don't know what accent I was using. And it's a 2022. And the winery says that the grapes are hand harvested in small bins and fermented with natural yeast. So we're going to hear
natural.
Yeah, we're going to hear a lot of that stuff. And what's interesting is that they use two grapes in the wine, two Spanish grapes, Xarello and Muscat. But the Xarello is fermented in stainless steel, but the Muscat is fermented in clay amphora.
Oh,
so like these weird old clay jars. So, and then the wines are blended and bottled at the end of fermentation, and then they continue to ferment and age for about 6 months in the bottle. So again, I think you're going to find Pét Nats to often be experimental. That just feels like we're doing something different. Like we're just going to try different stuff. Now, the vineyard that they come from is certified organic. The wine is also certified vegan. And the soil it comes from is clay and limestone. So we'll see if some of that comes through in the taste. This wine is interesting. It's a little low in alcohol. It's 11%. And so usually lower alcohol wines are sweeter. But the wine is described as dry.
Okay.
But remember, in sparkling wines, often dry means slightly sweet. So I don't know if they meant dry or dry brut or dry sweet. Like, I don't know which dry they meant.
They were confused too.
I'm confused.
Well, they were, yeah. Okay, we'll find out then.
But usually a lower alcohol wine means a higher sweetness.
Okay.
But we'll see. Okay, the next wine we're trying today is called Santa Giulia Naturale La Mantis Pét Nat. Yeah, it has a little mantis, like a little praying mantis. It's a very cute label. And this wine comes from South America, it comes from Argentina in the Mendoza area. The wine it's also organic, and the winemaker also claims to make their wine sustainably.
Oh, nice.
So again, I think you were going to see a lot of this with Pét Nat too, is that they're sustainable, they're natural, all that kind of stuff. Right. And they also say they use natural yeast, and the wine is unfiltered, so I'm guessing it's also vegan. And then this wine is 100% Chardonnay. And that's, yeah, so that's probably the way that we will like Chardonnay the best, is when it's sparkling and unoaked.
Right.
And I think, remember, for those of you out there in listening land, that Chardonnay is actually a very classic sparkling wine grape, actually a classic champagne grape. And then different from our last wine, this one is 13.5% alcohol, so it's quite a bit higher.
Very different,
yeah. And it should be pretty brut, pretty dry.
Right.
Okay, and then the last wine we're going to taste, Carmela, should be really different. Remember when I said there was an experimental wine?
Right.
This one is going to be different.
Okay.
So you ready?
Give it to me, yeah.
It's called the 2021 Field Recordings Dry Hop Pét Nat. And so the dry hop part had me really intrigued, which is why I would never usually buy it, but because these are kind of funky wines, I wanted to try it. So it's described on one website as Pét Nat meets sour beer.
Okay, I wondered.
Yeah. So I thought this would be interesting to try because Pét Nat is sort of a freer or more experimental form of winemaking, and clearly that's what these people did. So they use hops. I mean, they use hops
along with the grapes.
Exactly. So this wine is also 100% Chardonnay, but what they say is that the wine is pressed and racked onto mosaic hops in a large stainless steel tank. And the grapes were organic. They use native yeast in the fermentation. The wine is also said to be vegan, and they also claim to be sustainable.
Wow.
Now, this is what the wine... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm so curious to taste this and see how much it changes, like having the hops, how much it changes the taste of it.
Yeah, and
flavor.
like sour beers, like I don't love sour beers
Like you
normally.
think it would be, what's like a sour beer? Like a Hefeweizen?
No. That's not a sour. Remember, we've had sour beers. Often they look like they're cloudy. Sometimes they are like different colored, but they're sour.
Oh.
Like they are sour beers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what the winery says about the wine, and I liked this. They said, dry hop Pét Nat was our first foray into the Pét Nat revolution. The creation of this wine requires perfect timing. It must be captured in bottle at just the right level of natural sugar, so it is perfectly carbonated upon release.
So not as much wiggle room with this one.
Yeah, and they also say carbonated, which is interesting. Remember I said sometimes they're more fizzy or effervescent? So I also wonder, in addition to having sort of a sour and maybe a beer-like taste, if it's a little more fizzy than it is really sparkling.
Yeah.
You know
bubbly.
what I mean? Like really bubbly.
Fizzy rather than bubbly, maybe.
Exactly. So I think this is going to be really fun and super interesting. We have 3 different Pét Nats from 3 different parts of the world and 3 different styles, including this one that uses hops. So on that note, I think it's time to start drinking.
I think it is.
Okay, we're going to take a break. And if you've got a sparkling wine, a Pét Nat, something along with you, go ahead and open it up and drink along with us. It's participation time, people.
Woo! And you get points.
Woo! Free participation points. Okay, we'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our first wine. This is the Entre Viñas Oniric Pét Nat. It's from the Penedès area of Spain. This is a 2022. It was $16.99 at wine.com. This is the one that's 11% alcohol. It's 70% Xarello and 30% Muscat. So one thing that we noticed right off the bat, it is cloudy. It's effervescent. I mean, it's like almost like beer.
You cannot see
beer
through
sparkly.
it.
No, you
And
can't.
it's exactly. It had a little bit of like extra foam on top.
Yeah.
When we poured it.
A little foamy. Okay, what are you smelling?
Well, when I first took a sniff, I was getting some yeast for sure, kind of a bready smell to it. Let me see what else. What do you
You know what? I
smell?
almost smelled like a Hefeweizen. I don't know if maybe you put that in my head, but like a Hefeweizen with lemon in it.
Ooh, yeah, it's a little bit citrusy smelling.
Citrusy, yeasty, maybe a little bit of apple. I think I'm getting a little bit of apple on it as well. But it's almost got like a little bit of a beer-like smell on it.
I can smell a little pineapple maybe though too. A little bit of
I
sweet
like
because
that.
I know it's a little extra. I mean, well, we're thinking because it's lower in alcohol, might be a little sweeter, right?
Yeah,
I'm getting
pineapple's
a
good.
little bit of that.
Yeah, now I'm getting that. I see what you're saying. But do you get apple or pear on it as well? Or
Maybe
no?
a little pear.
Yeah.
I think pear is a good one actually.
Okay, well, let's try it and see what we think.
Ooh.
It's good.
It's really nice.
It's good. It's dry. It is dry.
yeah.
It's sweet on the front, but really dry on the back end.
What else? I'm getting a little melon.
I think I'm getting a little melon. I'm getting citrus for sure. Getting a little bit of stone.
Okay. And these are the Spanish grapes. Okay.
It's nice. I am getting pineapple. I am definitely getting pineapple. Now that you say that, I feel like I'm getting that. Almost tropical fruit kind of flavors.
You know, it's interesting too. It almost, it's just, I don't know if people taste this, but when you have like a sparkling water and there's that little bit of that bitter taste in it, I'm feeling like there's a little, like a little bit of a bite to it.
There is bitterness on it. It's nice though. It's a nice bitterness.
Right. It's a good balance, actually.
I feel like this really cleans off the tongue though. It's like a really nice, dry, clean wine. And it's very nice tasting. It's not overpowering. Like it's pretty mellow.
Yeah.
Like almost elegant. Like an almost elegant kind of wine. Or not, it's not like super like forward. It's kind of like it's meant to be enjoyed and sipped. And
Yes. And it's definitely fizzy.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
There are no bubbles really. I mean, they're very fine.
Well, it's hard to see.
Yeah, but they're also just very fine bubbles, if any. You know, but you can taste the carbonation or that little bit of fizz in your mouth, which is so nice.
Yeah, it is nice. What food would you have with this?
I had to take a little sip.
Yeah, I know.
I think you could do a lot with this. I think you could. I know you would go down the spicy route, and I
would
could see
definitely
that
do
with
spicy
this wine. I could definitely see some really nice spicy food with this. And I could even do like Mexican food with this.
Really?
That's spicy. Yeah, like fish tacos with a little, you know.
The lemony taste in this would definitely go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
that,
sure.
For some reason, yeah, I could definitely do fish tacos with like a little bit of a spicy sauce on it. any type of spicy food. I could do even like fish and chips with this. Fried food would be good. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And I'm gonna angle towards the spicy like Chinese food or something would go really nicely with this. I like what you said about Mexican food, because a lot of times wine and Mexican foods are not an awesome pairing. They're just, for whatever reason, sometimes the flavors just don't match with a lot of like standard wines. But I think with this one, it would be really nice.
Yeah,
I
think that little bit of citrus that's in it, maybe we were kind of saying this too.
Yeah.
But like, when you're having any type of beer, you almost, when it's Mexican food, you're almost always putting a lime or a lemon in that beer.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of that too.
I agree. I'm with you 100%. Okay, well, let's rate this one. So as a reminder, on our rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10, no halvesies, only whole numbers. And 7 or above means that we'd buy it. And a 4 or below means we're going to pour it down the sink. And a 5 or a 6 means, hey, we won't kick it out of bed. Well, if we're eating crackers, we'll probably finish it.
I mean, especially if you're Au Naturel.
But we might look for something else. You know what I mean? Anyway, what rating would you give this wine?
Well, I'm curious to taste the other ones. I'm in that boat where I'm like, I know we're in the same boat because you just said that, but
I'm not in a boat.
You're not in my boat?
I'm in a basement.
You just said you were in the same boat with me.
I'm in a basement.
So in my boat.
This basement doesn't have a boat.
No, it doesn't. But I'm thinking I would like to taste the other ones, but this is kind of
you gotta
really
just rate it
like
for
you
what
said.
it is.
You said hold on to your socks, and I don't have socks on, or maybe I
Keep
do
your
have
socks on. Yeah.
But this is kind of knocking my socks off.
Really?
Yeah.
So what are you rating it again?
Well, right now I'm like,
come on, let it go.
I mean, it might be
Bring it on.
It might be a 9.
Okay, you're giving it a 9. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8. I really like it. I think it's delicious. It's not nearly as sweet as I thought it would be. No, don't get me wrong. It's got sweetness on it, but I was expecting a really sweet wine. It's not nearly as sweet as I thought it was going to be. It's really nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah, it's really nice.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break and we are going to try our next wine.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we're ready to try our next wine. I'll say this one has similar color. Maybe it's a little darker than the last one. It's not quite as opaque, but it's similar fizziness, like it's fizzy.
Yes. Yeah. But no, it's very similar color, but I'm cracking up at the label.
Yeah, the label is awesome.
I mean, it's like a little kid must have drawn it.
Yeah, for sure. And
I love it.
And actually, it's probably not a little kid. It's probably some famous artist. But the other thing I'd say is these wines we are not serving in we're not serving in flutes. We're just serving them in normal wine glasses, which I think is totally appropriate for this kind of wine. I don't think it needs a flute, a champagne flute.
I don't think champagne even needs I love different glasses for different types of wine.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I like a stem, though. Don't get me wrong.
No stemless. No stemless. Don't do the stemless. Okay, this wine is called the Santa Julia Natural Lamantas Pét Nat. It's from Mendoza, Argentina, and it is a 2022. It was $19.99 at wine.com, 13.5% alcohol, 100% Chardonnay, and Vinous gave it a 91. Carmela, what are you smelling?
Okay, Carsmela. That's what I thought you were going to say. You were bringing me back to when I was bullied. No, I was not bullied, but people would Carsmela.
I get it. Okay, but what do you smell, Carsmela?
Okay, so, right away pear.
Pear, yeah.
But also kind of like that apple cider, like Martinelli's apple cider, a little bit to me. How about you?
I am smelling a mixed drink. I am smelling like pina colada.
Oh, wow. Some pineapple and coconut?
Yeah, are you smelling pina? It smells like a pina colada to me. It's got a mixed drink.
The more I smell it, I'm kind of getting that, but I'm not sure I'm getting the coconut side.
And you know what I'm also getting a little bit of a smell of is a margarita.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Smell it.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of that lime and maybe a little of that like spicy, whatever, tequila-y kind of smell.
There's a little bit of tequila on it.
Yeah. It's got a really interesting. I've got tropical fruits, but I'm getting. It
smells really sweet to me.
Does it?
Yeah. I know it's not going to be probably, but.
So I said margarita, man. I'm telling you, it smells like a margarita. It smells like a mixed drink.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Okay, well, let's taste it and see what we think.
Apple. Still apple to me.
I'm getting a lot of citrus.
Okay.
I feel like I'm getting a ton of citrus on it. I feel like it tastes a little bit like a margarita.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm getting sick or what, but it tastes like a little margarita.
Whoa. No, I'm getting hints of that. And even like you said, the mixed drink side of things, like a little bit of a hard alcohol taste is coming through. But I'm still getting kind of a hard cider.
Okay. I'm getting that, but maybe I'm almost getting a little bit of more melon on it, like cantaloupe-y kind of taste or something.
Okay.
It's super dry. Like it's really dry.
It is.
Like you said, I think it's going to be sweet. On the front, it's actually very sweet, like when you first taste it, but it's really dry in the end. It's got that bitterness again.
Yes, but it's pretty clean still.
Super clean. As I'm saying, it dries right off.
These are summery drinks to me.
I think they are summery.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, funny enough, you could almost have it like Thanksgiving too. Something about this Au Naturel, I don't know. Something about it kind of works for a Thanksgiving or fall wine. But this is so clean and refreshing. I just feel like it says summer all day.
I think also that lemony, the fact that it's so lemony to me or so citrusy is making me feel that. Now that I talk about citrus too, maybe a little orange. Okay. Maybe a little like clementine or, you know what I mean? Like a sweet orange, those little tiny sweet oranges.
Right. The cuties.
Are you getting a little bit? Yeah. Are you getting a little bit of that maybe?
A little bit, yeah.
Like, if they're a little bit like tart or sour sometimes.
Even like when you get not really a pith taste, but sometimes you get a piece of the seed.
Yeah.
You have a little, and you kind of
I'm with
in
you.
it, the little tiny pieces that you can eat, kind of has that little bit of bitterness on it.
And you know what? These are, again, these are natural, sometimes unfiltered. They could have bits and pieces of stuff in it. I mean, they're basically orange wines, that are effervescent. So they could be keeping that stuff with the wine.
It's tasty.
It's really tasty. What food would you pair with this one?
A lot of the same kinds of foods.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not, I think it's pretty versatile though. Like I could even see doing like a chicken burger with this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could see like white pizza. I could see sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like a chicken sandwich or something
would be really
good.
good.
It'd be really good? Like a Cuban sandwich. Like a Cuban sandwich would be really good.
Yeah, a little bit a little spicy on it.
But also, like now that you're talking spicy, I could see like a spicy sausage or spicy bratwurst or something with it.
Yeah.
It'd be really good.
Yeah. These are very versatile.
I think this
wines.
one is very versatile.
Yeah.
I think because it's so dang dry.
Yes.
It's so dry that I think you could do a lot of things with it. Anything else?
Oh, I think that's,
okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Anything else for you?
No, I think that's it. It's very versatile. I think it's a great food wine, and we like wines that go well with food. What rating would you give this wine?
Well, it's funny because I'm finding right now that I'm really enjoying these Pét Nats.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
you're
like,
not answering the question.
The hard thing is,
Answer the
we
question.
don't drink a lot of this, and I'm like, why am I not drinking more of this?
No, they're delicious. I love them.
They're so good. They're like kind of dangerous.
No, I love them.
So now I'm like,
they're naked.
You like naked things, don't you?
Okay, but what rating?
So I think, I'm almost like, I could give this one a 9. I don't know which one I like more than the other.
Okay.
So I'm going to give this, I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
I just think the other one I like a little touch more.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat, but I'm giving this one an 8 as well. Because I really like it. Yeah. And I don't feel like giving it less than an 8.
Oh, and
so
you
how
should
about that?
not. You should just feel whatever
you
good
about it.
You got to do.
Yeah, and I would say these are strong 8s.
Yeah.
Like these are good wines. Like you should buy these wines.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's going to turn their nose up to this.
Well, some people will because some people are like,
because they're kind of freaked out by the
I don't know, or maybe they just don't like the style. It's a very
they don't like nakedness.
But it's kind of an elegant style of wine, and it's also not a punch you in the face. It's not like a super like sweet or sugary or like it's a different kind. So I think it's a little bit more elegant kind of wine.
Full bodied, like full mouthy stuff.
Yeah, so I think there's some people might not love it, but I think they're fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well, we're going to take a break and we're going to try this last wine that I'm really intrigued by.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try this last wine. This is the Field Recordings Dry Hop Pét Nat. And I will say again, it's similar color to the other two. It's fizzy again, super fizzy. This one might have a little bit more bubble than the rest of them, but it's super fizzy. This is from Paso Robles, California. It's a 2021. It was $22.99, Carmela.
Oh, this is the one that broke the bank.
I know. Comes from wine.com, 13.1% alcohol, 100% Chardonnay, but with that hops in it. So what are you smelling?
Okay, so I'm getting the hops. I'm getting a little beer for sure. But I'm also getting... It's funny, kind of like a pine needle.
Yeah, it's very herby or very like plants that you can smell plants like herbs, plants, grass. I'm with you. It's really forest.
Yeah,
there's like a foresty kind of smell to it.
forest. That's kind of something sort of like damp too, or not in a
like
bad
damp
way,
dirt,
but yeah.
clay. I'm with you. It's got some fruit on it, but it's like a little bit of that appley citrus. I almost smell like a little bit of apple tart or apple turnover.
Oh, wow. Apple turnover, huh?
Well, because I think there's a little yeast too that I'm getting on it. Like, so it's got kind of like like a pastry, like an apple pastry.
Okay, so you're getting some sweetness. See, I'm not getting a ton of that, but I'm getting a little more. It's funny. This is one that really did change after first opening it.
Well, the other thing is this happens all the time. If you swirl a wine, you will get certain types of smells. Sometimes you get the strongest, most kind of like off-putting smells when you swirl it.
Right.
But then when you stop swirling it and you just put your nose in there,
Right,
you get
it
a different...
calms way down.
Yeah.
Right, because you know what? It had just calmed down, and I could smell more of that apple or that fruit. And then the minute I just swirled it again, the hops came right out.
Yeah, you get kind of those earthy. I find that very often. You get kind of those earthy smells when you swirl, and if it's that type of a wine. But you're not getting that brioche, that like that sweet bread.
Just very subtly, very subtle.
Okay.
The hops, the earth, the
you're getting
like I said, pine needle, which is a little bit like sappy smell.
Oh yeah,
too,
yeah. I like
it's kind
that.
of coming through,
Yeah.
but
Christmas tree. Okay,
right.
Let's taste it.
Ooh,
I can taste the sourness. I kind of like it.
yeah, I like it too.
I like it a little bit more than I thought. I would say different than the other two. There's a lot going on. Like
Very effervescent.
well, but also like the other two, you had a taste at the beginning and then it dries right out. This one keeps going.
Yeah.
And it keeps kind of changing. It's very citrusy.
Kind of more like a beer. I mean, it doesn't really taste like a beer, but it has definitely the mouthfeel of a beer.
It does. And it's very citrusy and it doesn't clean off the tongue quite the same way that the other two did. It's a dry wine, but that citrus is like coating my tongue. I can definitely taste
the
that
sour
lemon,
tang.
sour tang. I like it, but it's different. I think this might be a little bit more challenging with food, a little bit.
And it is not really wine-like.
It's not quite wine-like. It's not. It's a drinking, like this is, so we always talk about food and wine, and but this is a drinking wine. Yeah. This is one you just can drink.
On its own.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually kind of a fun party
I was going to
wine.
say, it kind of remind me of a tailgating wine.
Yeah.
Like this could be a really fun tailgating wine that you're kind of you're like striking a balance.
What do you mean striking a balance of what?
Between like having beer and wine. It's like you're still, it's kind of that refreshing, and you can pop the top. But did you tell them about the cork?
Oh yeah, this was really weird. So I popped the bottle cap off. I didn't tell them. You were right here. I took the bottle cap off. The other two, bottle cap came off. That's it. This one, I take the bottle cap off. There's a cork.
That's weird.
It was really weird.
And it's a dark bottle.
Yeah. But
so you would not know.
It's a light wine. No, you wouldn't know it's a light wine.
Remember, if you take this to a tailgating party, you need the corkscrew. You may not know that. You don't need just a bottle cap opener.
Yeah, somebody's going to be like, God, don't
Right. And then they'll be like trying to work on it with some weird tool.
Like,
no, bad idea.
Use a key.
Right.
Like some
This'll
idiot.
work. Yeah.
And then you're going to have like cork all over the place. No, you can't do it.
No.
Okay, what food would you have with this, Ivana?
Well, it's so funny. I could, I mean, this is so weird, but I could, for some reason, like popcorn, something salty with this would be good. You know
what would be good? Movie theater popcorn.
Ooh, fake butter.
And really salty, like salty.
Yes, like salt on your salt.
Ooh,
this would be nice and refreshing with that.
Well, and like for those of you out there in listening land, like champagne and French fries and potato chips supposed to be a good combo. This would be great.
Yeah.
This would be really good with
French fries.
Yeah. This would be really, actually, you know what? This would be kind of a good Big Mac and French fries kind of pairing.
Oh my goodness.
Because that
your
creamy,
Big Mac.
but they're like creaminess. And
I know how a Big Mac is stacked now.
You didn't. You didn't. 2
but
years
now
ago,
I
you
know.
had no idea.
Now I can tell you.
Yeah.
But
2 all beef patties, special sauce, less cheese, and pickles on the sesame seed bun.
Right.
But you're right, they don't say sesame seed bun in the middle.
No, so how are you supposed to know? Okay,
because you look at pictures and you observe.
No, not if you're not interested. Like if you're not interested in a Big Mac,
this is what she says to me all the time. I'm not interested.
So
okay.
I'm not looking.
Anyway, wow, when I'm au naturel. Okay, so what rating? Not true. It's sort of true. Okay, what rating would you give this wine, Carmela?
Okay, I'm gonna give this I think I'm going to give it a 7, like a really strong 7.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 7 too. Like, I'd buy it. I definitely buy it. I'm not sure I'd buy it for everybody. There's some people who'd be like, there's a certain...
Your college pals.
No, well, yes, but I think there's a certain... What I was thinking more of is there's a certain type of wine snob who might be like, oh.
That's what I mean. You need it's not like a unrefined taste at all.
No.
But I'm just saying, like, somebody who's like thinks that they're more refined.
Super cool wine person.
Yeah, like, but this is so much fun. This is another like gift wine, like people. Like,
totally.
This is so much fun.
The bottle, the labels
like
they make
for a birthday?
Yeah, the labels they make are kind of cool.
Yeah, and they're just sort of simple. And then the whole cork with the cap, I just think they're so much fun. You put a little bow on this thing and...
Bow on it. Put a bow on it.
Maybe you wouldn't put a bow on it.
Okay.
But I think it would be a great, like, 50th birthday gift.
Oh, okay.
21st
50th. Why couldn't it be like 40th or 30th? Okay.
16th. No. 21. 20.
Which of these wines, Carmela, let's get off the age thing. Which of these wines are you finishing tonight? I don't know what's wrong with me.
I am going to go with the entree, baby.
Entree, baby. Okay. I think I'll go with the Santa Giulia.
Okay.
Okay, good. So we won't have to fight.
Fight.
Okay, so let's talk about the taste profiles expected from different Pét Nats. So I'm not going to give a general taste profile because, it's going to be totally dependent on the grapes, the style, etc. Although all of these are relative, there is some similarity between them. Okay, the Entre Vignes Oniric Pét Nat Rock Juice, a site called rockjuice.com says, this lightly fizzy wine is so fresh and aromatic with an almost unctuous texture. While the palate is dry, floral notes from the muscat greet you at first sip, but it opens up to salty rocks and summer peaches. Well, that's interesting.
Peaches, okay.
The Santa Giulia. The winery says aromas of white fruits and orange peel with refreshing acidity. I think we did eventually get to orange peel.
Yes, we did.
Vinia says initially there's a yeasty nose in which white fruit flavors develop later on, indulgent to the mouth with fine bubbles. Fruity expression, raw, simple, pure. PR Bottle Shop says on the nose, fresh and lively with notes of white fruits, pear, and orange peel. Some floral hints
white fruits. What is that, like apples and pears? I keep saying
guess.
white fruits.
I think that's what it means.
Okay.
Some floral hints of honeysuckle or elderflower, along with a touch of yeastiness or bready aromas. Light-bodied and refreshing with a zippy acidity and a gentle spritz of bubbles. Flavors of tart green apple, lemon, and grapefruit may dominate.
Okay, so what happened to the margarita?
With nuances of stone fruit such as peach or apricot. All right.
Tequila?
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't in there.
Okay.
Maybe that's what white fruits are. Field Recordings Dry Hop. This is the only one I could find. Argot says gooseberry pear.
Gooseberry.
Pear.
We all know what gooseberry is.
Yeah, I know. That's one of my favorite fruits.
Wow. I have gooseberry all the time.
Exactly. Pear, lemon blossom, grapefruit, guava, almond skin, which is a weird thing. But, no of that herbaceousness, but I think like almond skin maybe.
Right, exactly.
Especially if it's like an unsalted, like the raw almond.
Okay.
I can almost say raw. Aren't you proud of me?
I was like, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
I'm trying too. Carmela, overall, Pét Nats, come on.
Come on. I
Get
love
with
them.
it, people.
What? You've been holding out, JoJo.
No, I'm not holding out.
Okay, they're really good. I think you should try them.
You should try them. People, get with it.
Get to it.
Get on it. All right, keep your socks on. Keep your pants on. But get the Au Naturel. Okay. Carmela, it's just about time for us to go. But before we do, we want to thank you all very much for listening to us. And if you haven't done it yet, come on. Now subscribe and leave us a rating and review. We love
it or ticket.
Click it or ticket. Leave us a nice rating and review so we can get more listeners. It's free. Come on. It's free. It's awesome. It's free. And we really appreciate it. Thank you very much for all of you who have done that. We'd love to hear from you about maybe a wine you want us to taste or review or some season or something that's coming up that you want us to talk about. So you can leave a message for us or reach out to us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can join our email newsletter there, or you can just email us at joe@thewinepairpodcast, and you can follow us on Instagram and DM us there, and we'll answer you, we promise. And with that, we're going to sign off. So we're going to say thank you once again, and we'll see you next time. And as we like to say, life is short, so stop drinking shitty wine and put your pants on.
Wow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.